First period of the day, they get to listen to a rousing talk about blood. Oh, I'm sure there are 100 different topics you would rather someone to talk about, but you got me today. It is important. It may not be exciting unless you're a hematologist. You treat people for blood disorders. Maybe it's exciting to that doctor, but it's important. So we all hope that those of you who are eligible to donate blood on March 10th will do so. So let me get started. What I'm going to do is spend a little time telling you about the basic requirements for donating blood. Some of you already know this. You may have heard it in the past from a different speaker. But for those of you who don't know, I'm going to run through these and maybe you'll learn a few things. Then I'll tell you why I think it's important to donate blood. Okay? All right, so let me get started. Basic requirements for blood donation. Minimum age, 16. Minimum weight, 110 pounds. If you weigh less than 110, quite frankly, you can't spare a pint of blood. Wouldn't be good for your health. That's why the Food and Drug Administration, which writes the rules that we have to follow, New York Blood Center doesn't write the rules, the FDA in Washington does. 110-pound minimum, okay? I have to tell you, though, that for 16, 17, and 18-year-olds, there are some additional height and weight requirements. When you're 19, the additional requirements go away. The only one that remains is the 110-pound minimum. I'm not going to read the numbers for you, but just as an example, if you weigh exactly 110 pounds and you're 16, 17, 18 years old, you would have to be 5'6", okay, in order to meet that additional requirement. If you were 5'1" or 5'2", 5'1", you'd have to be 133 pounds, okay? So the shorter you are, the more weight you would need to satisfy these additional requirements. If you're not sure whether you make these requirements or not, you can see me after the talk. I have the numbers here. Okay. When you're 19, like I said, the additional requirements go away, and you just need to be 110 pounds. All right. Forgive me for using this cheat sheet. I haven't done this talk in a long time, and even before the pandemic, I didn't do it very frequently, so I may have to refer to this once in a while. So, minimum age 16, minimum weight 110. You must be in good health on the day you donate blood. The blood drive is Wednesday the 10th, okay, a week from Wednesday. If you are planning to donate blood on the 10th, but you're not feeling well that day, do not donate. You're coughing, you're sneezing, you have a sore throat, no good. You might be in school, maybe you have an important test to take. You feel well enough to come to school and take that test, but do not donate blood, right? It's common sense. If you're not feeling well, there's bacteria in your bloodstream. That's what's making you sick. If we transfuse your blood to somebody else, what's going to happen to that person? They're going to get sick. They've got your blood, right? So that's not good. So if you're not feeling well, forget it. We'll catch you the next time around. You can donate at the next drive. That's important. All right, food, critically important. Do not donate blood on an empty stomach. Don't even think of doing that. It's a bad idea. If you don't eat, and I know a lot of people skip breakfast, a lot of Americans skip meals. I'm not the food police. I really could care less whether you eat breakfast or not, except if you're donating blood that day. If you skip a meal, you donate with an empty stomach, there is a chance that you might feel a little dizzy, you feel a little dizzy, a little queasy when you get up off the bed. Simple rule, eat something first. Try to eat a healthy meal. Avoid the bacon, the sausage, the cheeseburgers, the fries, all the fat, greasy stuff, the good stuff. You know what happens? If you eat a fat, greasy meal, that fat, that fat actually gets into your bloodstream rather quickly. And when they test your blood, and all blood is tested before it goes to the hospital, during the testing process, if it's your blood is gunked up with too much fat, it will make it difficult for the lab techs to test your blood for what they need to test for, which is basically infectious diseases, HIV, hepatitis, STDs, that sort of thing. If they can't test your blood, they got to throw it out. It'll never make it to the hospital to save somebody's life. So do yourself a favor, eat a healthy meal. Have some Cheerios, have some cornflakes, have some cream of wheat. There must be something in your house that's healthy for breakfast, okay? So do that instead. Hydrated. You must be hydrated. Drink some water before you donate blood. Okay? You might even want to start a day before. Increase your fluid intake on Tuesday. Drink a little more water. Avoid coffee. Avoid coffee before you donate blood. Coffee has caffeine, and caffeine lowers, it depresses the iron content in your blood immediately. It reacts to your blood immediately. We test for that at the blood drive. They'll do a finger stick. They'll take a few drops of blood, just a few drops. They'll put it in this little machine that sits on the tabletop, and it actually reads the iron levels in your blood. And if it's too low, you won't be able to donate blood that day. Doesn't mean you'll never be able to donate, but that particular day, your iron count may be too low. Okay? And it could also be too high. So there are parameters. It could be too low, it could be too high. Avoid coffee. Okay? This is a particular problem for females who tend to have lower levels of iron in their blood. Iron's important in your blood. Iron's the part of your red cell that helps carry oxygen through your body. So it's important that iron in your blood has an important job. But the point is, avoid coffee until after you donate blood, okay? Try to remember that. We don't want to knock you out because your iron level is too low. Okay, tattoos. 3-month waiting period. Tattoos. If any of you has a tattoo that you got 3 months ago or longer, you're good to go. Less than 3 months, you have to wait. Again, this is the FDA rule, not the New York Blood Center rule. It used to be 12 months. You used to have to wait a full year after tattoo. And the FDA just knocked it down to 3 months, which is a good thing. We were happy about that. Because so many people get tattoos so frequently that they couldn't meet that 12-month waiting period. So we were losing a lot of blood donors because of the tattoos. But now it's a 3-month waiting period, which is much better. Same thing with piercings. If you had a piercing, also a 3-month waiting period. One additional thing about piercings, single-use needle. That's important. I've been told that some people share needles. You might do your own piercing, and then you hand your needle to your boyfriend, girlfriend, next to you, standing next to you, and that person pierces their ear with the same needle. That's a no-no. If you're thinking of doing that, don't do that. Okay, that's a bad thing. Don't share needles. Okay? And it must be done under sterile conditions. A jewelry store, kiosk in the mall. Are they still doing that in the malls? I haven't been to a mall lately. You know, the kiosk where they can do your piercing, they probably still have that. That's okay. Your friend's dirty, greasy garage doesn't count. Okay, that's not good. That's not good. Okay, so that's important. All right. Needle sticks. Boy, this is a problem for a lot of people. This is a phobia that a lot of people have. I understand it. I walk around college campuses all the time, not lately, but when the colleges get back in the groove, we'll be doing blood drives there. And people come up to me and say, I'd love to donate blood, but I'm scared to death of needles. I can't do it. And I understand that. But I tell people the same thing. I tell them a needle stick is like a pinch. It's the best way to describe it. It's like a pinch. You've all been pinched, right? At some point in your life, your brother, your sister, somebody pinched you. You feel it for about a second, right? Then it goes away. The pain doesn't linger. It's the same thing with a needle stick. It takes about a second. About a second. The men and women who draw your blood are called phlebotomists, That's their fancy job title. They're very good at what they do. That's their job. They do it for a living. They do it every day. They've done it thousands of times. Trust me, if you have a vein in your arm, they will see it, and they will know what to do. That's their job. They better know what to do. Okay? That's what they get paid for. All right? So, please, if you're afraid of needles, try to overcome that fear. Turn your head. Turn your head. No one's forcing you to watch. We don't have any other way to draw blood from a human being other than to insert a needle in your vein. No one's come up with a better way to do it. Okay? That's it. Look, I've been donating blood since 1971, 50 years. I've had hundreds of needle sticks. I'm still not fond of needle sticks. But, it doesn't bother me that much now. I watch them inserted. It doesn't matter to me. But if you're afraid of it, turn your head. You have to ask yourself this question. What do I get for that 1 second of minor discomfort? You get to save a life. That's a big deal, folks. That's a big deal. So don't let the needle stick deter you. Please, give it a try. All right, parental consent. The FDA requires parental consent for all 16-year-olds who donate blood. However, the high schools have more latitude to be more restrictive than the FDA requirement. And most high schools do that. And John Glenn is one of them. So not just 16-year-olds, but the school wants everyone who's donating blood on March 10th to have a parental permission form signed off. Okay? That's it. 16, 17, 18, 19, the school doesn't care. If you're donating blood, you gotta show up with that parental permission. I'm told you can get that in the library. Head over to the library. You can get that form, get it signed. Either return it. I don't know what the details are. You can either return it before March 10th to the nurse or the library or Key Club member. I'm not sure on the details on that. But get the form, get it signed off. Worst case, bring it to the blood drive with you. If you don't, hand it back to somebody in the school. You must have that. You must have parental sign off. Identification, very important. You cannot donate blood anonymously, right? We need to know who you are. Your blood is tested, for instance. If there's a problem with your blood, if the lab finds a problem, they need to notify you. So we need to know who you are. Picture ID, a driver's license, passport, a school ID, right? You all have school IDs, I assume? Good. Bring that with you. We will accept the school ID, but you must have picture ID in order to donate. All right. So let's see, I think I covered the basics. All right, so you get the idea. Food, water, picture ID, tattoos, waiting periods, all that stuff. So why should you donate blood? Why should you? I think all of you will agree with me if I were to tell you that a lot of us, a lot of Americans, take a lot of things for granted every day. We just do. Maybe fewer things now during the pandemic than we did before. You just can't go to a movie theater or your favorite restaurant. Maybe you can't do that. But pre-pandemic, you still take a lot of things for granted. It's based on our life experience. If you go to a supermarket, for instance, for a dozen eggs, or a quart of milk, or a box of cornflakes, it is your expectation that those items are going to be there. Right? It's going to be on the shelf. The last time you bought a box of cornflakes, the last 100 times you bought it, you just plucked it off the shelf and put it in your shopping cart. You didn't give it a second thought. Of course it would be there. Why wouldn't the eggs or the milk or the cereal be there? It's a big supermarket. They got a million items. Unfortunately, one of the things that Americans take for granted is the availability of blood at their local area hospital emergency room. Whether it's 2 in the afternoon or 2 in the morning, Your expectation is that that blood will be there to save your life or the life of a loved one. And that makes sense to me. Why wouldn't it be there? We don't live in a third world country. We don't live in a war zone. No one's dropping bombs in our hospitals. Well, we don't live in Syria. I'm here to tell you, folks, that is a dangerous assumption that the blood will be there when you need it. Why do I say that? Because it's not guaranteed. Who's going to guarantee it? The chief of surgery, head of internal medicine, maybe the director of nursing. What about the president or CEO of the hospital? Those people can't do a damn thing for you. They don't know how to manufacture blood. They can't help you. You know, if you have money in a U.S. bank, your money is protected. It's guaranteed. It's insured by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the government agency. If your bank fails, you won't lose your money unless you have more than $250,000 in your bank account. It's protected. Your money is guaranteed. The blood supply doesn't work that way. I wish it did. There is no agency of government, federal, state, or local, that can guarantee the blood will be there, that there will be a sufficient supply of blood at any hospital in the United States. I don't care whether you're in a small hospital in rural Arkansas, or maybe New York Presbyterian, a big city hospital, or Huntington Hospital, a big, good-sized suburban hospital. It doesn't matter where you are, what time, what day of the week it is, what time of the day. It doesn't matter. No one can guarantee that the blood will be there to save your life. This is why we have blood drives. This is why we donate. We don't want people to die in emergency rooms simply because there is not enough blood on hand to give you. We know how to do blood transfusions. We know how to put blood into your body. We've known how to do that for over 100 years. That's easy. The hard part is getting people to take an hour out of their day, once a year, twice a year, maybe more often than that. You can donate blood every 56 days, up to 6 times a year. You can donate up to 6 times a year. The hard part is getting people to take a little bit of time out of their day to donate blood. Either come to the school or go to a local blood drive. We do blood drives all over the place. Fire departments, churches, synagogues, mosques, shopping malls. Actually, a week from Saturday, I'm going to be at the Rotary Mall in Hicksville. I go to that one a lot. But we do all the malls. American Legion halls, Veterans of Foreign Wars. Wherever we can get a group of people, there's likely to be a blood drive. So it's not hard to find a blood drive to donate blood. If you're curious about where you might want to go, where a local blood drive is, you can go online. New York Blood Center, NY, as in New York, nybloodcenter.org, and you can find where the nearest blood drive is. Okay? So there are lots of blood drives. It's easy at school because we come to you. You have to be here anyway. When I was going to school, high school back in the 60s, a long time ago, we didn't have blood drives. Nobody came to my school. I had to wait till I started work at a major employer. And sometimes if you work for a big employer, the blood drive will come to you. Okay? There are nearly 2,000 people just in the New York metro area who require a blood transfusion every single day. Nearly 2,000 people just in the New York metro area. That's a lot of people, folks. That's about 2.5 times the total student enrollment here at John Glenn High School. You got about 800 students, roughly. 2,000, 2.5 times that. Imagine that. Every day, today, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, and on and on and on. So that's a lot of people. That's an awful lot of blood that's needed to try to save as many of those 2,000 souls as humanly possible. Again, that's why we do blood drives. That's why we donate. 2,000 folks every single day. Due to an injury, they may have had an injury. They may be fighting a disease, or they may have a surgical procedure. Any one of those circumstances, they're going to need blood. All right? So that should give you an idea what our area hospitals are up against every single day to try to save the lives of those 2,000 people who need blood. Now remember, it's not guaranteed to be there. As I just mentioned, it's not guaranteed to be there. And there's no plan B. There's no backup plan. This is important. If you find yourself in a hospital and you need a blood transfusion and the blood's not there, it is game over. You're finished. You will not survive. So this is why it's so important to have an adequate blood supply at every hospital on Long Island. There are nearly 3 million people on Long Island. It's a lot of people. And as you know, we have a lot of hospitals on the island to service that population. But every hospital needs blood. Regardless of your blood type, every hospital needs blood. Have any of you ever walked around the corridors of a hospital? Maybe you were visiting a friend, a family member. You might have seen a door with a very simple sign on it. It says blood bank. Every hospital has one of those doors. Arguably, the most important door in that building. Because the product that resides behind that door, human blood, may one day save your life or the life of a loved one. So, folks, my message to you today is very simple. We got to be there for each other. We got to help each other out. That's what it's all about. We got to be there for each other. We got to help each other out. That's why we donate. And you get cookies too. You get Oreos, Dunes, cranberry juice, apple juice. Okay, we give you all that stuff. That's free. But you got to donate blood. You got to give it a try. These are the 12 words I want you to remember. If you remember nothing else from this little talk, the words I want you to remember. The blood has to be there for me if I need it. Right? It's got to be there. Like I just said, there's no plan B, there's no backup. March 10th, you have an opportunity to perform a valuable community service. And I want you to think of blood donation as exactly that, community service. Because that's what it is. It's community service at a very high level because you're helping to save the life of another human being. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. You can do this. You can do this. All I ask is that you give it a try. Make the effort. March 10th. I understand that not every student in the school will be physically here on March 10th because of the scheduling. But those of you who are here and who are 16 or older, you can donate blood. We're coming to you. We're making it easy. You don't need an Uber. You don't need a car. You don't need a bus. We're coming to you. Okay? It's easy. But make the effort. Okay? Give it a try. We got to be there for each other, folks. All right? Get to the library. Get that parental permission form in your hands. And if you're 16 or older, as of March 10th, please donate. We need your help. We just had a snowstorm a couple of weeks ago. You remember that? That snowstorm cost us 1,500 pints of blood that we were unable to collect because the blood drives were canceled. Right? You couldn't get out of your house. There was a foot of snow in the ground. We lost 1,500 pints of blood that we would have been able to collect. And this is a problem. I mean, we have to deal with the weather. In the summertime, it's a problem. By the middle of August, people are on vacation, right? They're out of town, they're at the beach, they're having a barbecue at their friend's house, they're not thinking of donating blood. Every hospital in the country should have a 7-day supply of blood on hand. They should have a week of blood on hand. Sometimes, when it's really bad, like the middle of August, the hospitals get down to a 3-day supply of blood. That's scary. 3-day supply instead of 7. That's not good. Okay. Guys, again, you can do this on March 10th. 16 or older, please. We need your help. Give it a try. Thanks very much. Enjoy the rest of the